Have you ever woken up with a pounding headache, feeling that relentless throbbing at your temples that just won't quit? Or maybe you've sat nervously in your doctor's office, watching as the blood pressure cuff tightened around your arm and the numbers on the monitor climbed higher and higher while your doctor's expression grew increasingly concerned. I know exactly how it feels to live with that constant fear hanging over your head. The endless worry about your blood pressure readings, carrying medication everywhere you go, even avoiding those precious moments with family because you're afraid the excitement might send your heart racing too fast. Hypertension doesn't just steal our health, it robs us of our peace of mind, our freedom, and those spontaneous joys that make life worth living. And what makes it even more frustrating? Those same generic recommendations we've all heard 1,000 times. Just cut back on salt, lose some weight, take your medications, as if it were that simple, right? The truth is, managing hypertension is complicated, and there are hidden dangers lurking in places you'd least expect, even in foods marketed as health foods that might actually be sabotaging your efforts to keep your blood pressure under control. After spending years helping people just like you reclaim control of their blood pressure, I've discovered something shocking that very few medical professionals are talking about. Certain fruits, commonly recommended as part of the healthy diet, could actually be causing dangerous spikes in your blood pressure without you even realizing it. Today, I'm going to reveal these seemingly innocent fruits that might be silently driving your blood pressure through the roof and show you exactly which alternatives can help bring those numbers down naturally. Imagine being able to enjoy family gatherings without constantly monitoring your condition, traveling without the fear of a medical emergency far from home, or simply waking up each morning with that heavy sensation in your chest. This isn't just another empty promise. It's a scientifically backed approach that has helped hundreds of my patients regain control of their health with simple food swaps you can implement starting today. So stay with me until the end, because this might be the most important information you'll receive this year for your cardiovascular health. Before we dive in, I'd love to know if you or someone in your family struggles with high blood pressure. Leave a comment below sharing your experience or any questions you have about managing hypertension. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you'll never miss our latest research on natural approaches to heart health. Let's start by understanding exactly why some fruits can be problematic for people with hypertension. While we've been taught that all fruits are healthy, the reality is more nuanced when it comes to blood pressure management. The connection between certain fruits and blood pressure spikes comes down to several key factors that most doctors simply don't have time to explain during your brief office visits.
First, let's talk about sugar content. Many people with hypertension don't realize that high sugar intake can be just as problematic as high sodium when it comes to blood pressure regulation. Some fruits contain significantly more natural sugars than others, and these sugars, particularly fructose, can contribute to insulin resistance and inflammation, both of which are directly linked to elevated blood pressure. Recent research has shown that fructose may actually increase sodium absorption in your body and trigger insulin expression, creating a perfect storm for hypertension. The first culprit on our list might surprise you: dried fruits. Those convenient little packages of raisins, dried mangoes, and banana chips that seem like the perfect healthy snack? They're actually concentrated sugar bombs that can send your blood pressure soaring. When fruits are dried, their water content is removed, which concentrates their natural sugars into a much smaller volume. This means you're likely to consume much more sugar than you would if eating the fresh version. For example, a cup of grapes contains about 15 grams of sugar, while a cup of raisins packs a whopping 86 grams. That sugar overload can cause rapid glucose spikes, inflammation, and ultimately contribute to higher blood pressure readings. What makes this particularly dangerous is that dried fruits are often marketed as heart-healthy snacks because they contain fiber and nutrients. But for someone with hypertension, that concentrated sugar hit can easily outweigh any potential benefits. If you've been snacking on dried fruits regularly and wondering why your blood pressure remains stubbornly high despite following other recommendations, this could be your answer. I want to take a moment to ask something important. When was the last time someone really listened to your concerns about living with high blood pressure? Not just checking your numbers and adjusting your medication, but truly understanding how this condition affects your daily life. Many of my patients tell me they feel isolated, like no one really comprehends the constant weight they carry, that silent fear that accompanies every heartbeat. If you can relate to this, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments below. Maybe something simple like, "I've been dealing with hypertension for X years, and what troubles me most is..." Sharing your story not only helps me create more relevant content for you, but it also shows others watching that they're not alone in this struggle. Sometimes just knowing someone else understands what you're going through can bring tremendous relief. And who knows, your experience might be exactly what someone else needed to hear today to find hope. Now let's continue our conversation about how we can transform this reality together.
The second fruit category that can be problematic for people with hypertension is tropical fruits. Mangoes, pineapples, and bananas are delicious, but they contain significantly higher amounts of sugar compared to other fruit options. A single medium mango can contain up to 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of soda. Bananas, often recommended for their potassium content to help lower blood pressure, can actually have the opposite effect in some individuals due to their high natural sugar content, especially when very ripe. What makes tropical fruits particularly tricky is that many of them do contain beneficial nutrients for heart health, like potassium. However, for individuals who are sensitive to sugar or who have insulin resistance, which is common in people with hypertension, the negative effects of the high sugar content may outweigh the benefits of these nutrients. This doesn't mean you need to eliminate these fruits completely, but being mindful of portion sizes and frequency is crucial. Another surprising fruit category that can affect your blood pressure is canned fruits. These convenient options often come packed in heavy syrup, adding unnecessary sugars to an otherwise healthy food. Even varieties labeled "in juice" can contain added sugars that contribute to blood pressure issues. Additionally, some canned fruits may contain preservatives and sodium. Yes, sodium in fruit, which directly impacts hypertension. Always check labels carefully, as a single serving of canned fruit cocktail can contain up to 18 grams of added sugar. Now, what about fruit juices? Many people with hypertension drink orange juice, apple juice, or grape juice, thinking they're making a heart-healthy choice. Unfortunately, even 100% fruit juices lack the fiber of whole fruits and represent a concentrated source of fruit sugar that can cause rapid blood sugar spikes. A single 8-ounce glass of apple juice contains the sugar of about 3 to 4 apples, but without the beneficial fiber that would normally slow down sugar absorption. Studies have shown that regularly consuming fruit juices is associated with higher blood pressure and increased risk of cardiovascular disease, despite their vitamin content. Let's talk about another fruit that might be surprising: grapes, particularly red and purple varieties. While these colorful fruits contain resveratrol, which has been studied for potential heart benefits, they're also extremely high in natural sugars. A cup of grapes contains approximately 23 grams of sugar, making them one of the highest sugar fruits available. For someone monitoring their blood pressure, regularly snacking on large portions of grapes could potentially contribute to unstable readings. I want to emphasize that I'm not suggesting you eliminate all fruits from your diet. Quite the opposite. The key is knowing which fruits work best for blood pressure management and consuming them in appropriate portions. So what are the best fruit choices for someone with hypertension?
Berries are at the top of the list. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries are relatively low in sugar while being packed with antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and improve blood vessel function. A landmark study published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics found that consuming just 1 cup of mixed berries per day for 8 weeks led to significant reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure readings. The anthocyanins in berries, which give them their vibrant colors, have been specifically linked to blood pressure improvements.
Green apples are another excellent choice. They contain less sugar than their red counterparts and are rich in quercetin, a flavonoid that helps relax blood vessels and improve circulation. The pectin fiber in apples also helps control blood sugar levels and reduces inflammation, both critical factors in blood pressure management. For best results, eat the apple with its skin, as that's where many of the beneficial compounds are concentrated. Avocados, while technically a fruit, deserve special mention. They're extremely low in sugar and high in monounsaturated fats that support heart health. They're also rich in potassium, which helps counterbalance sodium in the body and relaxes blood vessel walls. Studies have shown that adding just half an avocado to your daily diet can help reduce systolic blood pressure by several points within weeks. Citrus fruits, like lemons and limes, not sweet oranges, can also be beneficial when consumed in moderation. They're relatively low in sugar and contain compounds that help strengthen blood vessels and improve their elasticity. Adding fresh lemon juice to your water not only encourages better hydration, important for blood pressure, but may also provide modest cardiovascular benefits without significantly impacting blood sugar. Let's talk about practical ways to incorporate these blood pressure-friendly fruits into your diet. First, consider substituting dried fruit snacks with fresh berries. Keep washed blueberries or strawberries in your refrigerator for easy snacking. For a satisfying morning meal, try topping plain Greek yogurt, which is also beneficial for blood pressure, with a small handful of berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon, which has been shown to help regulate blood sugar and potentially lower blood pressure. Instead of fruit juices, try infusing your water with slices of lemon, lime, or cucumber. This gives you a refreshing flavor without the sugar impact of juice. If you do occasionally enjoy tropical fruits like bananas or mangoes, pair them with a source of protein or healthy fat, such as a small handful of walnuts. The protein and fat help slow down sugar absorption and minimize blood pressure effects.
For an afternoon snack, try half a green apple with a tablespoon of unsweetened almond butter. The combination provides steady energy without the blood sugar spike that could affect your pressure readings. And don't forget about avocados. Add slices to your salads or mash a quarter avocado on whole grain toast, if bread is part of your eating plan, for a satisfying and heart-healthy option. Another important consideration is timing. Some people with hypertension are more sensitive to sugar in the morning, when cortisol levels are naturally higher. If you notice that your morning blood pressure readings tend to be elevated, consider saving your fruit servings for afternoon or evening snacks, when your body might process the natural sugars more effectively. It's also worth mentioning that how ripe a fruit is can significantly impact its effect on blood sugar and, consequently, blood pressure. Less ripe fruits typically contain more resistant starch and less sugar, making them a better choice for blood pressure management. For example, a slightly green banana has less impact on blood sugar than a very ripe spotted one. Now, let's address something important. Nutritional needs are highly individual, and what works perfectly for one person might not work as well for another. This is particularly true with hypertension, which can have multiple contributing factors. While these fruit recommendations are based on scientific research and clinical experience, it's always important to monitor your own blood pressure responses to different foods. I recommend keeping a simple food and blood pressure journal for a few weeks. Note what fruits you eat, in what quantities, and at what times of day. Then check your blood pressure about an hour afterward. This personal data can be invaluable in determining your specific triggers and identifying the foods that help you maintain optimal blood pressure levels. It's also crucial to understand that fruit choices are just one piece of the blood pressure puzzle. The overall pattern of your diet matters more than any single food. The DASH diet,
the dietary approaches to stop hypertension, has been extensively studied and proven effective for lowering blood pressure. It emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and low-fat dairy while limiting sodium, added sugars, and saturated fats. The fruit recommendations I've shared today align perfectly with DASH principles, focusing on lower sugar options that provide maximum cardiovascular benefits. Remember that hydration plays a vital role in blood pressure regulation as well. Dehydration can cause your blood to become more concentrated, forcing your heart to work harder and potentially raising blood pressure. Aim for at least 8 to 10 glasses of water daily, more if you're active or live in a hot climate. As mentioned earlier, infusing water with low-sugar fruits like lemons or berries can make staying hydrated more enjoyable while providing additional heart health benefits.
Beyond diet, consistent physical activity is one of the most effective natural approaches for managing hypertension. Even moderate exercise, like brisk walking for 30 minutes most days of the week, can lower systolic blood pressure by 4 to 9 millimeters of mercury, similar to the effect of some blood pressure medications. When combined with mindful fruit choices and other dietary improvements, regular physical activity creates a powerful synergy for cardiovascular health. Stress management cannot be overlooked in any comprehensive approach to hypertension. Chronic stress contributes to elevated blood pressure both directly through stress hormones that constrict blood vessels and indirectly by influencing behaviors like emotional eating. Techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, yoga, or simply spending time in nature have been shown to lower blood pressure readings significantly when practiced regularly. Quality sleep is another critical factor that interacts with your food choices to affect blood pressure. Research has demonstrated that poor sleep quality or insufficient sleep duration can elevate blood pressure and make it more resistant to treatment. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and consider that some fruits, like tart cherries, contain natural melatonin that may support better sleep when consumed a few hours before bedtime. I want to emphasize that while natural approaches to blood pressure management can be remarkably effective, they should complement, not replace, conventional medical care. If you're currently taking blood pressure medication, continue as prescribed while implementing these dietary changes. Many of my patients have found that, over time, with their doctor's supervision, they've been able to reduce their medication dosages as their natural approaches take effect. But this should always be done under medical guidance. For those taking specific blood pressure medications, particularly ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, be aware that dramatically increasing potassium intake through foods like avocados and bananas could potentially cause potassium levels to rise too high. This doesn't mean avoiding these nutritious foods, but rather consuming them in moderation and having your electrolyte levels monitored regularly by your healthcare provider. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with an encouraging thought. Hypertension may be common, affecting nearly half of American adults, but it doesn't have to dictate the quality of your life. By making informed choices about the fruits you consume, favoring berries, green apples, avocados, and kiwis, while being mindful with dried fruits, tropical varieties, canned options, and juices, you're taking a significant step toward better blood pressure control. The power of these simple food swaps shouldn't be underestimated. I've witnessed patients reduce their systolic blood pressure by 15 to 20 points through dietary changes alone, sometimes within just a few weeks of consistent implementation. These aren't minor improvements. They represent meaningful reductions in cardiovascular risk and often translate to noticeable improvements in energy, cognitive function, and overall quality of life. If you stayed with me until now, you probably understand how challenging it can be to live with uncontrolled blood pressure, that constant worry, the medication side effects, and the lifestyle restrictions that seem to steal some of the joy from everyday life. I want you to know that you're not alone on this journey. Our channel was created specifically to build a supportive community for people like you, who are seeking natural, effective ways to care for their cardiovascular health. Each week, we share new discoveries, simple recipes that support healthy blood pressure naturally, and answer questions that doctors often don't have time to address during brief appointments. If today's content resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. This way, we can walk this health journey together, one step at a time, without rushing, but with the consistency your heart deserves. I don't promise miracles, but I do commit to providing honest, research-based information and practical strategies that have helped real people achieve real results. Take good care of yourself, and I hope to see you in our next video, where we'll continue our conversation about living better even with hypertension. Remember, every small choice you make for your heart today adds up to significant benefits tomorrow. Your heart thanks you for every bit of attention you give it today. Until next time, this is Dr. Name, wishing you health, peace, and optimal blood pressure.